Hi guys, this is week 4. So the first thing that you may notice is that the area being filmed is different. This is because I finally found my iPad after months of not knowing where the hell it was. I knew it was in the house somewhere, but yeah, it turned up, so now I can actually frame myself slightly better. Although, because it's a bigger space that's being filmed, I'm having to put a tiny post-it note next to the camera so that I'm actually looking at you and not at me, which is a bit distracting. So, currently I am directing my thoughts to 2 googly little eyes on a post-it note. I always feel like that guy from the Fast Show at this point. This week I have been mostly doing prep for the book launch. So I've been working out who's going to be there, who's going to be reading, what they're going to be reading, who's going to read for someone else, how long it's going to be, when it's going to start, when it's going to end, when the music's going to be on, all sorts of organisational stuff that really needs to be done and is really good that I have done, but seems to have taken 2 days entirely. So, not much writing this week. I've been slowly chipping away at Secrets and Lies. So there's that. I'm struggling with it, I think. Partly it was a structure issue, which I think I've solved, but partly because it's a thriller and it's a murder mystery, and it's a really horrible murder mystery, and there's some really intensely nasty things happening to people, and I don't think my head wants to go there right at this minute, so I'm kind of trying not to put it off, but I'm kind of putting it off. In order to get more of it done this week, I purposely didn't work on Last Human Getaway, which is annoying me. So I'll have to do some more of that towards the end of the week, I think. And I still only wrote half a chapter of Secrets and Lies. So clearly, the issue is not how much time I spend doing it. So, despite that, I did manage to get in a good day of writing yesterday, and I managed to get a good day of writing in at the weekend. Mostly on prompts and marketing, but I'm adding that to my NaNoWriMo word count because, quite frankly, it counts. So yeah, it's all go for Friday now. We've got people signing up from all over the world to watch the live stream on the Facebook page. If you want to join them, that's the Short Story Superstars Facebook page. Link will be below. 1 or 2 of our authors are going to live tweet through the entire broadcast as well, which is good. And my friend Amanda, who did the last live stream video, she's going to do it again. She's got a great sense of humour, and I think the fact that she was narrating all of the bits that weren't the readings was very much appreciated, so she's back again this year. Still reading my AA directory, which I'm still enjoying. I'm finding out lots of random interesting facts about things. So last Thursday night we had a bit of a night out. The Science and Media Museum in Bradford, which is a really good museum, you should go. Every couple of months they do a late, which is adults only, and it sort of kicks off at 7 until they close. Each one has a theme, and they have all sorts of different exhibitors around the place, and you can also go into the Wonder Lab, which is brilliant, which lets you play with physics and stuff, so it's always a good night. It's always packed, and the more often we go, the more we get there and realise about 17 other people we know are there. So it's always a bit of a party. It's really good. This time it was magic and mystery, so I thought, well, I'm not missing this one. This one's right up my alley. And I got to see some elements of Phantasmagoria, which I've wanted to see for years. In the 19th, early 20th century, people got really into seances, like really into seances. It became the thing to do at a dinner party. So you had these dubious mediums going around, employing all sorts of underhand means to convince people that they were conversing with the dead. Not least because, it made them a lot of money. One of the more eccentric cases was the Winchester mansion in America with Sarah Winchester. Her husband died, and she spoke to a medium. And her husband's family had invented and marketed the Winchester rifle, and the medium told her that all of the lost souls that had ever been killed using a Winchester rifle were after her, and to appease them she had to build an enormous mansion and pay the medium large sums of money. But the enormous mansion was awesome because the spirits direct what's to be built where. And Sarah Winchester did this for decades. It's an incredible place. I really want to go one day. There's staircases that go into nothing. There's labyrinths. There's windows for no reason. It's completely mad. It lends itself to ghost stories, as you might imagine. So you'd also have people like Harry Price. He was a famous British... I think he started out as one of the con artists, and then he became someone who debunked things. So there's all these tricks you use, like a bell with a little electric remote that you can control that goes off at a certain point while you're performing. It really is a performance art. The trick is to get people distracted while other things are happening. I particularly like, there was a trick with 2 slates. I won't tell you how it's done, but I was very impressed. He wrote on the top a message to the person he was calling, put the 2 slates together and a piece of chalk inside, and then waffled, basically, but kept us with him for about 5 minutes, and then he took the slates back and there was a message on the inside that hadn't been there before. Now, I do know how that was done, but I thought it was pretty cool. And also, it being the Media Museum, there was an ectoplasm. Now, I believe back in the day, sometimes ectoplasm was a silk scarf, which just goes to show the power of low lighting and belief in general. Sometimes it was a sort of mix of vinegar and water and flour that sort of bubbled up out of somewhere. It used to scare the pants off people. I'm pretty sure in this case it was a piece of dry ice. And it was under the bell and it came out and it sort of crept along the table. It was very cool. There were people in the room with us, even though it was obviously a show, and it was advertised as a show, and it was advertised as demonstrating the techniques that fooled people. There were at least 10 people who stayed around at the end, absolutely convinced that all of it was real. And I do believe in ghosts. I don't necessarily think that they perform on demand. But I was stood there going, but he told you all of this was fake when we started. What? Oh, I don't understand. Anyway, they had a good time. I had a good time. It was all good. It was absolutely brilliant. I've got so many ideas for stories. I had a great time. If you have a chance to get to one of the Media Museum lates, I would highly recommend it. They're so much fun. So, as I mentioned, we have the book launch on Friday, and I thought I would read you a little bit from one of mine. As you can see, I'm all prepped for all of the readings. I'm not doing them all myself. I think I probably would lose my voice if I did that. I'm already sort of losing it. It's only Wednesday, so I imagine that's going to go well. So I thought I would read you a poem I wrote. So this is Smoke Jumper. I stand at the keel of a boat, a fleet-running warship, a swift, sleek mist runner that in older days likely harried the coast of this land that I call home. I should be offended, I suppose. The blood that was spilled was part of my own. In the old way of speaking, in this wide green land, I can see the line of my people back to the heathen under the mound. It was my kin they were killing. My women they carried off across the sea. Women like me. Across the globe, flame and fear still strike like distant thunder. I am civilized, whatever that means, and feel the shame and outrage of every fresh assault on the peaceful and the innocent of today. I should feel it here, knowing the blood soaked into that timbered deck. But I don't, or I do, but less than I think I ought, as a civilized creature among my fellow beasts. This ship, these splintered boards, were a part of that same storm in an older age. The time of heroes, we call it, when killing meant glory or shame, and no one had invented the word for guilt. I live an ordered, quiet existence, free of the blood and smoke of that older age, but gazing at that ring-whirled prow, I long for the storm and the sword, to take the whale roads of mine or someone else's ancestors and win glory with blood, to see the ice leaving the winter stream and know it is time to follow my friends into battle, into song, to meet death smiling, or at least with conviction, to delight in life and to roar into the dark, happy to take my place among the steadfast ones, in a wide, warm hall, where the mead never runs dry. I fancy I see the long-ship, rising softly in the water, salt-rime like hoarfrost clinging to her bows, hear the clash of shields, and laughter carried on a fair spring wind. But those are older days, distant by 1,000 years, and I have always been more scribe than warrior, an accidental poet in my fortress of ink. Still, I stand by the keel of this ghost of a ship, and hear the cries of sea-birds, and taste the sea. That was just one of the many, many things you can find in here. There's a huge variety of stuff. There's a huge variety of authors. There's poems, there's prose, there's random musings that we're not entirely sure how to classify. Yeah, it's really good. You can get it on, from this Friday, the 23rd, you will be able to get it on Amazon, both as a paperback or as an ebook on Kindle. You can get it from Smashwords, Kobo, Nook, Barnes & Noble and iBooks. If you do read it, we'd very much appreciate a review on any of those mediums. And yeah, spread the love.